The question of what is the largest fish ever caught on a rod and reel is a difficult one to answer. Many massive fishes have been caught all over the world over the years, but only those that have been submitted to the International Game Fishing Association or IGFA and accepted by the organization are included in the official world record list. However, most of the fishes caught around the world fail to make it to this list either because they were submitted late or not submitted at all. This is why today, we will also be considering fishes caught outside IGFA, but with valid proof, of course. Let's dive right into it. Number 10 in our list, the Shortfin Mako shark. During the Oak Bluffs Monster Shark Tournament in 2001, Luke Sweeney caught this fearsome Mako. Luke was aboard the tournament's smallest boat, a 24-foot World Cat, when he broke the record by catching the 1,221-pound beast. The fight lasted 3 hours, but the Mako eventually made it to the weigh-ins. This remains one of the largest shortfin Mako sharks ever captured. On to the next at number 9. Great Hammerhead Shark. Bucky Dennis, the charter captain, typically fishes for snooks and tarpons. However, he claims that when tarpons arrive in Boca Grande, so do the hammerheads. Bucky uses stingray as bait to catch this 14.5-foot, 1,280-pound shark. The majority of hammerhead species are small and considered harmless to humans. However, the great hammerhead's enormous size and ferocity make it potentially dangerous, despite the fact that only a few attacks have been recorded. Bucky's 23-foot boat was dragged nearly 12 miles out into the Gulf by the hammerhead he caught. Number 8. Bluefin Tuna. Next on the list is a 1,496-pound bluefin tuna caught by Ken Fraser in October 1979 while fishing out of Alt Cove, Nova Scotia in eastern Canada. The tuna was caught in a mackerel bait that was trolled behind the boat Fraser was fishing from, and the battle to get the tuna close enough to gaff took only 45 minutes. The tuna was reportedly weighed 10 hours after capture, which means it would have lost weight due to dehydration and could have broken the 1,500-pound barrier if weighed sooner. Fraser's record was set when huge bluefin tuna were plentiful, and with bluefin tuna numbers down and most recreational tuna fishing now strictly catch and release, it's unlikely that a catch will ever be beaten. At number 7, Black Marlin. A 1,560-pound black marlin caught by legendary angler Alfred C. Glassell Jr. is the largest bony fish ever caught and recognized by the IGFA. Glassell was a successful businessman in the oil and gas exploration fields in the 1930s and 1940s before leaving to serve as an officer in the United States Army during World War II, where he saw action in Europe and North Africa. Following the war, he resumed his business career and developed an interest in big game fishing, becoming the first person to boat a marlin weighing more than 1,500 pounds. Next at number 6 is a Greenland Shark. Terje Nordvedt, a Norwegian angler, caught this shark in October 1987 off the coast of Trondheimsfjord, Norway. Greenland sharks are one of the world's longest living species, having been confirmed to live for 272 years and with a high probability of living for hundreds more. The maximum size of this species is unknown, but it is thought to be over 2,000 pounds. Nordvedt's Greenland shark weighed 1,708 pounds and 9 ounces and was accepted by the IGFA as the 4th largest shark caught on a rod and line. Aside from the fact that this Greenland shark was caught on a herring bait, little else is known about the catch or Nordvedt. Anglers have captured larger Greenland sharks, but because they were released alive, they were not eligible for consideration by the IGFA, so Nordvedt's record stands today. Number 5 is an interesting one because it's a tied record for the tiger shark. The fact that the 5th largest fish on our list is a tied record for tiger shark, despite one being confirmed as being heavier than the other, demonstrates the IGFA's sometimes complicated rules. Walter Maxwell caught the first tiger shark in June 1964 off the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier in South Carolina. According to the Post-Courier, Maxwell had already lost a 2,500-pound tiger shark when it was brought to the end of the pier, but could not be gaffed and broke the line. Maxwell returned the next day, undeterred. He used a Penn Senator reel, which is the company's largest, which held nearly a mile of 130-pound breaking strain line. A boat then took a live fish bait 700 yards offshore. The tiger shark eventually took the bait, and a 3-hour battle ensued. The shark made about 30 runs before Maxwell was able to bring it up to the pier and hoist it out of the water with the help of a tow truck. The following day, it was weighed and verified to be 1,780 pounds. However, in 2004, Kevin Clapson of Australia caught a 1,785 pound and 11-ounce tiger shark while fishing off the coast of Ulladulla, Australia. While this tiger shark is clearly heavier than Maxwell's, the IGFA has a rule that requires new records to be larger than the current record by 0.5% for fish 25 pounds or over. This would imply that Clapson's tiger shark had to weigh 8 pounds and 14 ounces more than Maxwell's current record. And it wasn't, being only 5 pounds and 11 ounces heavier. As a result, despite Clapson's larger catch, the IGFA lists Maxwell and Clapson as holding joint records. Number 4. Greenland Shark. Angler Ausgeir Alvestad caught a 14.12-foot-long Greenland shark weighing 2,425 pounds in Nedstrand Fjord in Norway in 2013. The shark was caught on a size 16 circle hook at a depth of several hundred meters. A Greenland shark of that size would have been over 500 years old, according to estimates. Because the shark was released alive, it could not be claimed as an IGFA all-tackle world record. If it had been, it would have surpassed the current IGFA record by over 700 pounds. Unfortunately, the shark was discovered dead at the surface a week after it was captured and was lowered back to the seafloor to provide food for other species. YouTube has a footage of the shark being caught. At number 3, Great White Shark. Alfred Dean, an Australian angler, caught this 2,664-pound great white shark off the coast of Ceduna, South Australia, in April 1959. The shark was captured about 12 miles out to sea and successfully pulled up alongside the boat after only 70 minutes of play. Dean was a fruit farmer from Irumple, Victoria, who became interested in shark fishing in his 40s. He was a remarkably successful shark angler, catching 7 great whites weighing more than 2,000 pounds and reportedly losing one weighing nearly 4,000 pounds in 1952. Dean's all-time record catch is 879 pounds heavier than the next fish on the IGFA list, emphasizing its size. Number 2 is also a great white shark. Frank Mundus caught a 3,427-pound great white shark off the coast of New York, making him one of the most famous rod-and-line catches of all time. Mundus was a well-known figure in the New York fishing community, having caught numerous large sharks throughout his career and reportedly harpooned a 4,500-pound great white shark in the 1960s. He is said to have inspired the character Quint in the book and film Jaws. On his charter boat Cricket 2, he took a group of businessmen shark fishing in 1986. A whale carcass was discovered 28 miles out at sea, attracting a large number of sharks. The businessmen needed to return home after catching a number of smaller sharks, but Mundus wanted to stay, certain that the presence of the whale carcass would provide him with the opportunity to catch a large shark. Mundus was joined by another charter boat and continued fishing while the businessmen were transferred to another boat and taken to shore. He eventually caught the shark he had been waiting for and battled it for an hour and 15 minutes. As the shark tired and surfaced, Frank was able to bring it alongside the side of the boat and secure it with a flying gaff before tying it to the boat with ropes and cables. The shark was too large to bring on board, so it was towed behind the boat back to shore, where a crowd had gathered after hearing Mundus catch over the radio. Because a forklift truck could not lift the shark, a construction crane was brought in. When the shark was weighed on industrial machinery and the weight of the cargo net used to hold it was subtracted, the weight was calculated to be 3,427 pounds. And taking our number 1 spot is another great white shark caught by Andy Hales. Andy Hales, a British angler, caught a great white shark in 2014 that would have broken the existing IGFA record by over 1,000 pounds if it had been submitted to the organization. Hales, a company director from Warwickshire, was fishing for yellowfin tuna off the coast of Cape Agulhas, South Africa, when he hooked up the shark. After a 2-hour battle, the shark was caught on a tuna head bait and a size 14 hook was reeled to the side of the boat. The 18-foot shark was far too large to bring aboard Hale's 32-foot boat, and due to South Africa's strict shark protection laws, the great white had to be released. Based on its size, the skipper of the boat estimated the shark's weight to be 4,000 pounds. It was then dumped back into the sea. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment below. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new content.